Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Yes.
And what are your goals as a feminist?
I guess my interest is mostly in, like, women's rights on a global level. I think that while there are a lot of things that need to be done here in terms of women's rights, I think that there are women struggling elsewhere that really need help, but it's kind of hard to do that in sort of like a non-imperialistic way. So I'm kind of struggling with it and trying to figure out how to do that, I guess.
What is it about feminisms that you value today?
That I value today? The fact that, I don't know, I guess that people are more aware of the issues that women face, although they're not necessarily being combated. I think more people are aware of it now than they once were. So that's progress.
How do you see new media shaping feminisms in the past 5 years?
What do you mean by it? Like new media? I guess.
New media as in television, Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, any form of media communication.
I guess it sort of depends on what you're looking at. Like, I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of websites that are like pro-women in like a really healthy and positive way, but then obviously I think women are still like objectified, and I don't know, I like think of like the Super Bowl commercials and it's just like kind of appalling. But then I think of like a lot of other websites and things that promote good things.
So Susan Douglas posits 2 female archetypes in media, and one is the economically successful and one is the hyper-feminine. Do you see these dichotomies playing out in the real world?
Oh, I mean not in the real world. That's a hard question. I guess I think it's wrong to stereotype those things, but I think because obviously there are women who overlap, who are, sort of this homemaker as well as super successful. I don't think you can define anyone by either of those things, but I mean, I feel like you also hear of women who are super successful and like economically driven and like don't have families and are like super focused on their career. But I feel like it's just too polar to like encompass all women.
Have you ever watched shows on MTV, like Jersey Shore?
Yeah.
Okay, so what were your reactions to watching them, and what were your motivations for watching them?
It definitely exposed a sort of way of life that I was not familiar with. So I think that's kind of why I watched it, because it was something that I'd never experienced. Like, and some of it was like, I don't know, I didn't think it was like a great piece of work or like something awesome, but it was just an interesting thing to look at, I guess.
Do you think that your own feminist sensibilities were affected by watching those TV shows?
I don't know, I mean, looking back on it, I wasn't really, I mean, if we're talking about like Jersey Shore, like, and you see this whole, like, the guys like going out, like their mission was to like get some, and I was just like very, I don't know, I have to hope that the real world like isn't exactly like that. But it was definitely a weird thing to see something that I wasn't like familiar with, and like the way that the girls were also kind of like something that was really foreign to me, that I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Do you think feminist goals are accomplished today?
I think it depends on what sort of goals we're looking at. If we're looking at awareness, I think that those are more sort of achieved than they were before. But I think if we're looking at things like, I don't know, I mean, if we're looking at major like structural changes, that's not happening really as fast as it could, I think. So, depends on, little goals, I think.
What do you think about prominent political figures like Sarah Palin and Hillary Clinton? Do you think that they contribute or detract from feminist goals?
I think if like politicians like that are, if they're for women's causes, then I think it doesn't matter what gender you are or like what party you are, as long as you're trying to further women's causes and like help them and make their rights important, then I think that there's like it's a good thing and that they do, help women's rights. But then if you're, just I think it's mostly what you're going for, not what gender you are or what party you're in.
Great. Well, that's all we had. Thank you.